Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the second day of our semi-marathon series from this year. My name is 𝐬𝐩𝐞𝐞𝐭. I'm the president of PMI Romania Chapter, and I have the pleasure to introduce you the speaker from tonight, Mr. Mehrzad Abdi Khalife. Will discuss with us and will share with us the sustainability conflict of AI advancement and what are the limitations, the limits of productivity and environmental in the data center era. He's the author of The Science of Scientific Change and has published more than 24 scientific articles and scholarly contributions in interdisciplinary fields. His publications focus on science trends. Alongside his academic and instructional activities, he has managed and contributed projects across multiple industries and international environments. Both in software and oil and gas industry, he has experience in research, software development, organizational systems, and innovation management. He has also founded and developed software ventures, including one successful company, exit through acquisition of the software. Now, I will hand it over to our speaker from tonight. Mehrzad, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Razvan. And that was a very nice introduction. I really happy and grateful for that the introduction you had it. And I'm honored that to be representative of the Hungarian PMI chapter. And yeah, this is like there is a topic that now all of us are facing of is the sustainability, and we would like to see that how we can contribute to the sustainability. And then alongside that one, something else happened in parallel. Now, I would say from the February of this year, especially from the February of 2026, most of people, even those who are doubting AI, is thinking how adapting AI in their process and then how they can use the AI for the higher productivity. It seems the AI and AI advancement, it is something which is entering to our life and we cannot stop it. And it will go further and further. And now we have these two topics, which is both of them are very important for us and see that how the sustainability living, the sustainability concept and policies can be embedded in our life, like a lifestyle and working style. And then also we would have the AI advancement on the other hand. And here I would like to see these two important topics of these days and then how they are combining together at the same time, and then how we can approach it, and then what is the conflict between two, and then how we can approach these two. I talked with Rezwan and I told that maybe it's good if somebody has any question at the start of the panel and having some kind of idea and thought, put it as a few random questions that about these two topics, which is all separated from each other. And then you can either write it on the chat, and you can write it on chat, and then we keep those questions as a starting point question to the discussion. And then we're going to the presentation and then see that how much of those questions we can answer it with the study we did on the sustainability and AI and the conflict that these two have. If anybody has the questions, you can write it down on the chat site. I will read it on the chat and we'll consider it as a starting questioning of the discussion. In meanwhile, I'm going step by step inside the presentation. So like I'm looking at your questions if you have it on the chat site, and also I'm moving further on the presentation. Okay. You see, when we talk about AI, that we talk about the general purpose technology that AI is bringing to us, and what is this artificial intelligence that which is coming to us, and then in which purpose of our life it would be affecting. We think, this is what we are assuming, that when the AI and the revolution of the AI coming to our working lifestyle, it would be transferring our management and management styles. It would be transfer our operation, our finances, the marketing, manufacturing, and scientific discovery. This is the area I'm really interested to see that how we can more advance in science discovery, and this is what I'm studying separately as my field of work. And we say that AI is enabling us for example, better forecasting, the automation, decision support, and productivity growth, and hopefully sustainability optimization. This is what we hope that AI can bring it to us. So we think that maybe the AI which is coming to our life would help us and enable us in these areas. But when it's stepping forward and then we have a hope that it can improve our working style, it also brings some pressures by itself. And so we have some concerns, and then let's see what is the sustainability conflict that the AI advancement can bring to our economy and work styles. So we need a massive compute infrastructure to run the AI inferences, high electricity demand, which we saw it even now, which we didn't that much advance in AI, we saw this high electricity demand, water consumption, carbon emission that it's caused, and then we have the hardware and supply chain impact of the hardware, which we'll talk about it a little bit further. One of the biggest problem with the hardware is the e-waste, which is generating by the AI. So we have a hope, and then what we see that the threats that its hopes can bring to us. Let's go a little bit deeper on the analysis and see that the core sustainability conflict for the AI, and let's see what is the AI sustainable enabler, like how AI can help our sustainable ecosystem and environment. So AI can help us for a smart energy system. So we can make our energy system smarter. Precision agriculture, especially for using the pesticides and herbicides and pesticides. We can be more precise to use what is needed on the field. Industrial optimization, climate modeling, and environmental monitoring. So we hope AI can enable us, which already enabled a bit, and then but it can be going further in these areas. Then in the same time, it brings a burden. We talk about a burden at the start, and then I'm going a little bit deeper on the burden that it has. One of the burden it has is that data center construction. Now everybody look at the data center as like a real estate property, and we can see that it is the real estate the data center project is look like the real estate project is starting in a different part of the world. It's popping up. Some of them even doesn't have the GPUs that they want to put it on the data center, but even though with that concern, they start the construction. GPUs and accelerators manufacturing, so we need a lot of GPUs. You know that Elon Musk also announced terafabs that he wants to produce somewhere around 1,000-fold of the current capacity of the computation, and then everybody knows that the current capacity of the computational production is not enough for the revolution which is AI would bring it to us. So the GPUs manufacturing is also another point and burden to the sustainability growth. We need a cooling system for all these data centers, and we need a grid infrastructure and energy demand. We talk about energy demand and water intensive operations. So these are initial burdens that we can pinpoint it. In the study, we'll see that we're going deeper on these burdens. There is a central question: can AI competitiveness be aligned with the environmental responsibility? So we see that AI brings the competitiveness, efficiency that for those who using the AI tools, and then we have our environmental responsibility. Can we have these two at the same time? And then where is the balance between the AI competitiveness and efficiency alongside environmental responsibility? How we can have this balance between these two? I'm just checking if there is any question. Okay, no question in the chat slide. If you have question, as I told you, that you can put a question there, and then don't worry to ask any question. Let's go see that electricity demand as it is reported by EIA. In 2024, we used 415 terawatt hours electricity just by the data centers, and it is 1.5% of the global electricity usage. So like data centers is, I don't want to say it is a very big portion, but it is a considerable portion of the whole global electricity demands and supply. But the projection for that on 2030 is more than twice. And we're going to use more electricity by 2030. This is the projection. And what we saw in 2025, it grows 50%. And even maybe this projection we had it initially with IEA would be more than that one. It shows that there are a lot of requests for the electricity from data centers for which the data centers are using AI for AI. We conducted research, and on this research, we had a research objectives and what is the environment impact are most associated with the AI advancement, where are the most impacts, how does the literature review and then tension between AI efficiency benefits and AI resource demands, and what management and policy paths can reduce the sustainability conflict. These are our research objectives, and then we did a research on the topic. For the research, we used a structured narrative literature review, and we went back to the articles that which has been developed from 2018 to 2026 in the last 8 years, and we try to see the main concept that we discussed it until now, and then we want to see that what we can find it in the literature of the study, and then what the scientist has been saying about these conflict between these two main topics, sustainability and AI advancement. The first finding we had, it was AI electricity demand in the infrastructure driver. It was somehow obvious. We knew that there was a pressure on the electricity demand. It was the first everybody got to know it. And the key insight is the challenge is no longer only training large model, it's also using inferences. Now the demand for the inference is going to be high, and it would be higher, and it's not just training the big models, and it's not just consuming electricity for large language model training. And major driver of that one is continuous inference. Like people are using agentic AIs, and then they have a continuous questioning the inference and then asking the demands from the inference. Inference should be working, and a lot of people would like to have a 24/7 agent that which their inference is working 24/7. Then definitely it needs electricity. Enterprise integration. Every enterprise now, if you ask to every board members or every CEOs in the enterprise, one of the first topic that they have is that how they can integrate AI to their system. So it's like, and definitely this is one of the major driver for the request, and then it's also consequently going to the increasing the electricity demand for it. And user interaction. Nowadays, like we have the end user interaction, and then enterprise and end user are using that one, and real-time services. Developer try to have a more real-time services, and cloud developments, which also we can see it from the especially startups and the companies that they are starting recently, and then they would like to utilize the development of the new software that which is working in the cloud and getting the service to the customers. A strategic problem, AI demand grows faster than the clean energy infrastructure. Oh, this is one of the biggest things. So if we have the green energy development, it can cover the needs for the AI demand, then we might be in the good breakout, but it's not the reality now. The reality is that AI demand grows faster than what we can build it up. And management implication, compute capacity is become inseparable from energy capacity. So when we talk about that compute tokens and the use of the tokens, utilizing of the token maxing for the organization, it's directly connected to the energy, and it's derived by energy. So the first finding is that AI electricity demand is connected to the energy, and it is derived the demand of energy, like more AI usage, more energy usage, and we cannot cover it by sustainable energy. And then there's a gap here for sustainable energy. The second finding we had in our study, it was the carbon impact. The carbon impact is not, it is depend on the location. It is not separated from the location. Um, I'll go through the finding and then I'll explain it what it means. Carbon emission vary based on grid energy mix. That's how the mix of the energy we are using on the different grids. For example, France grids is mostly used nuclear power, and definitely when they are going, they have a less carbon emission when that's using, for example, in France or in the northern countries at which they are more renewable energies than like the countries like Hungary or Romania, or even going to the States or in Asia and then Far East Asia area. So it depends on what is the mixture of the energy we have it on the grid. The second is the data center efficiency. The new data center is more efficient than the old one, and the old one is still are working. Most of them, even the expanding the lifetime of the old data center, because the demand for the data center is high and it's not efficient to taking out the old data centers from their work, even though they are not efficient like they are not power efficient. Process type, what type of the processor we have. We see like every 6 months or even shorter than we have a new announcement, especially from NVIDIA for their new processors that are coming to the market. And then those processors have a different energy consumption. Workload schedule, and definitely the workload schedule is another carbon emission factor. When the work is started in Europe, when the work is started in a state, and when the work started in Japan, especially like when you look at the Monday that we have time differences, and that is affecting the carbon emission and the grids, like the carbon emission of the grids and geographical location. Important point, the same AI workload can produce very different emission, depends on where it's run. So when we talk about the data center and the emission of the data center, we shouldn't consider that, we should consider where it's located. And we cannot treat all the data center with the same, like as a same characteristic for the carbon emission. Microsoft reporting emissions growing despite efficiency improvement because of AI expansion. And this is like it is obvious now, and then carbon emission is like growing very high. There is one other point that we are also founding this the second founding of the study is that maybe the data center is placed in, for example, in Europe, we place it in northern countries or France. But when we use it in like a Hungary, and then we use the same data center as for our running our AI, and but we use it in Hungary and then Romania. And the carbon impact and emission should be on the place that we have a data center, and the place of data center is important. For example, now Middle East is trying to develop a lot of data centers, but the energy that they have is mostly fossil fuels. So if we are running our AI on a data center, which the grid combination is mostly fossil fuels, then we will have the higher carbon impact of using that data center. So we have to be more, I would say, aware when we're using an AI, which data center would be utilized for this AI application and then usage. The third concern, which we also like we knew it at the start of the study, and then it seems also evident in the study, is water. And water is another source. Electricity is not just a source that we have to consider. Water consumption and measuring sustainability and the risk of the water usage is another important factor, and we have to consider it. And it should be under consideration. AI water footprint comes from data center cooling, electricity generation, and local infrastructure stress. And the key issue is water impact are local and regional, and it is not something. It is harder than electricity to compensate it from the other side of the grid, and it when we are overuse the water, the local water reserve, then impacts locally and regionally, and it might have a deep impact on the region and location. Important insight, renewable power data center may still create a water stress in vulnerable regions. So if we say, we cannot say just we're using renewable energy and then it's solving the problem and then there is no problem. We have a data center in a place, we're using renewable energy, and then we don't have any another problem. We also have to consider as a secondary problem that what is the water consumption for that specific region that we have the data center. And the sustainability challenge is that AI sustainability is not only about carbon. So we have to consider, we have to have an extra consideration. It's not just a carbon footprint, it's also water footprint. And we're going for the next finding. We'll talk about the other effects of AI and then how the AI is affecting sustainability thinking and decision making. Okay, then fourth finding we had in our study, we see that efficiency gain and rebound effect. Like how much efficiency we got it, and then what is the effect of that efficiency. Positive side is like better chips and chip development. So when we have advancement in AI, we can have a better chip development, and we would like a more efficient in using the AI. Hyperscale efficiency, when we have a bigger data center, then we can go for the hyperscale efficiency, the scale of economy. Improve cooling. So definitely now, especially nowadays, there was an announcement from NVIDIA, one of their chipsets, it can be cooled by 45 degrees, which is helping a lot to for the cooling facilities. It's easier to cool the system that which is cooling in the 45 degrees. These are the new achievement which happened by the AI. And virtualization in general, it's also a big positive side of the AI. We can go more virtual. We have a better virtual. Now we are virtual in the conferences, and then so we don't travel. We have a less carbon emission for the traveling, and then we have a definitely less cost. And but then we have to see the other side of the like the other side of the these effects. And as the AI become cheaper and faster, so usage is increased. We have a positive sides. We're going high in the positive, but then we see that user increase. Then everybody wants to use more because now it is more available. Deployment expanding, so everybody wants to have a data center and they're looking to have a data center in a different places. And total demand grows again because then it's more accessible. It's like a supply and demand. When the supply goes up, the supply goes up and it's become cheaper, so the demands also go up, and then we use more of the data and data center, and we use more AI. We need a more data center, and then consequently we need more electricity, and also it would be affect our water reservation. Um, okay. Efficiency gain is a rebound effect. One of the rebound effect is that efficiency gain may be offset some of the mass adoption. Like when we have a better chipset, we use the less chipset for the same amount of the token demands, for example, from the users and organization. This is also another finding we had it as a finding for in our study. So we have a gaining on the efficiency, but it's in parallel it's rebound the usage, and the usage is going up. Um, okay, we said that AI footprint is not just an electricity, it is beyond that one. And we talk about the water, but if it is not just the water. We have to consider more items. Life cycle impact of life cycle impacts includes chip manufacturing. We have to consider the chip manufacturing. Chip manufacturing by itself also put a burden and pressure on the environment. Service production. So we have, when we are making data center, it needs a service production. It also have a supply chain for it, because we have to deliver the materials to the data centers development sites. And one of the biggest one is the e-waste. At the end of the line, we have a e-waste, and we have to deal with the e-waste. And most of the time, these e-waste are toxic, very hard to disposal or recycle or bring back them to the industrial usage. So we have to also, the e-waste is also another consideration that we have to consider it. And equipment replacement cycle, as I told you, there are data centers which is almost obsolete. They are expired. They have to shut them down. But then because of the demand, they're continuing the operation. Definitely, they are not on their peak of the performance. And then they might be having water pollution. They might be, most probably they have a very lower electrical efficiency, and then they use a lot of electricity, higher carbon footprints, but because of the demands that is still keeping using those data centers. Key insights for this finding was operational electricity is only one part of the AI footprints, and then we have another footprints in the AI and AI developments in our environment and in our surrounding. Go to the sixth finding in this study. AI also has a sustainability potential inside it. We said like, okay, we talk about, it is also a bit evident. We talk about that AI is coming, demand is going to be higher, but then that higher demand put a pressure on the infrastructure and then water resources and then environment in general, and it has the drawbacks, and but also it can have a benefit for sustainability. We summarize these benefits as follow. Renewable energy forecasting. We can have a better forecasting of renewable energy. We can have a better planning of renewable energy. And grid optimization. We can do the grid optimization with the AI, and we can have a better grid. Industrial efficiency, resource allocation, climate modeling. All these things can come with the better AI, and then like a more accessible AI, and then we can have a better planning, better resource allocation, and we can use the AI for the more sustainable workflow. And balance. What is the balance between that, using AI and then sustainability that we had it in our finding? What we find it as a balance here. AI is neither inherently sustainable, so it is not sustainable, and it is not unsustainable. And when we talk about AI is not by itself sustainable or unsustainable. It is something which is, it is the tools, it's coming in our hand, and net impact depends on how we are govern the system. So governance is very important, which is one of the important fact of the project management, and deployment of the strategy, how we are strategize our deployment, and definitely energy sourcing for the data centers, and model efficiency. These are the places that we can say the AI is mostly impacted by governance, deployment strategy, energy sourcing, and model efficiency. These are the main four factors that affecting the AI and application of the AI. So AI is not directly connected to sustainability or unsustainability. Our acts alongside the AI is sustainable or unsustainable. Let's go at what we saw all those conflicts, and we saw all those findings on the studies in the last, I would say, 8 years of studies, which has been done by the different scientists and practitioners. And let's see what we can do and what is our proposal for the project managers, for the governance of the like policymakers and governance of the companies, how they can look at the AI, and then we'll go into that proposed solution. But it's just a start, actually. What I want to say is that this study is a starting point, and to see like a AI not as a something which is against sustainability. AI is a tools in our hand, and then see how we are using these tools to have a better and sustainable work process in our workflow. Sustainable conflict matrix. We designed the sustainable conflict matrix. AI sustainability trade-off. We would like to see that what is the trade-off for each part of the AI and AI dimension. Okay, AI dimension, we use a large scale models, and there is a very good article, Bitter Lesson. It is a very interesting article. It talks about that the essence of that article is that whoever have a more data, they can have a better prediction. And it seems, based on that article, whenever we have a bigger model, and that bigger model have a better outcomes and outputs. And everybody bets on the bigger models. And even the European Union has an initiation to create like one of the biggest AI models, and then go for training of that one. And then they want the companies that which has the experience with it, they come over and then also develop the bigger model for the LLMs. And so this is one of the dimensions, is that larger scale model. We think that this is we will get a better result from that one. So benefit is better automation. We think it's better automation with a larger model. Definitely larger model needs a higher energy demand. And the responsible pathway is that going for a smaller, sufficient model. We don't need to have the biggest one that which is working. It's the best to find the smallest one which is sufficient for our usage and application. We'll see a little bit later that's how we can have this kind of mindset for our work. Data center expansion. This is another dimension on the AI. We said that data centers are expanding, and then we see that data center expansion is there. Economic of competitiveness and economy of the scale. This is the benefit of this expansion, but it put a pressure on the sustainability. So it put a pressure on our grids. It put a pressure on the cooling waters, and it's make a stress on our current infrastructure. So what is the responsible pathway for the governance or for the manager or project manager? Use a clean energy integration. So have this consideration as a clean energy integration to that data center that they might be going to use. Inference at a scale. So inference at the scale is another AI dimension. It's increased the productivity, definitely, but then where it's put a pressure, presence electricity demand, definitely it's higher demand. So then the responsible pathway for this AI dimension is that to have a optimized inference and going for the optimized inference. Um, we will talk about this one a bit on a few slides because now the usage of the inference is increased. Now we are not in the area that we are learning big models. We are in the era that we're using more inference and we're using more of the tokens, and an organization are going for the token maxing. The end user are going for using more tokens. And it's better to know where we are going to use those tokens and what is the responsible pathway for a sustainable project manager, and then where to use those AI application. AI for sustainability, this is AI dimension. We would like to have it. Efficiency gains, we would like to have efficiency gains with the AI. Then definitely it's rebound on the efficiency. This is the sustainable pressure. The pressure, what it means that we want to use the AI to have a more sustainable infrastructure, but then it put a pressure on the sustainability because we want to get efficiency from using more AI from that what we have, and it is a contradict action. So how we can have a responsible pathway for it, not like using AI for sustainability, we can have a high value application, looking for the high value application of the AI, and then we use the AI for sustainability on the high value applications. We will talk about this one a bit further in the slides. Corporate AI strategy. This is another AI demand, and the benefit of that is innovation leadership. Definitely, we have innovation on the leadership. The corporate using AI for strategies, and we have a innovation for the leadership. But where it's put a pressure is emission and water pressure. This is also the same as the other part. How we can have a more responsible pathway for this is transparent reporting. And a reporting how we are using the AI. We have a transparent metrics and transparent reporting about our AI usage and where we are going to use AI, and then how responsible we are about our AI usage. Okay. Let's see evolution of the AI usage. The stage one is the data center energy efficiency studies. Then the stage two is a model level carbon analysis. The stage three is a life cycle and deployment impact. Stage four is that water and geographical impact. And stage five is governance and accountable framework. I'm passing this slide because then I want to describe this part of the work. Management perspective on AI requirement, the value to impact evaluation of the AI. You remember we talked about that's responsible AI, and then use the AI in the place which it has a high value, and don't use it in the low value items. And not all AI applications have equal justification. So first is that better to use it in the high value areas. For example, energy optimization, scientific researches, risk reduction, or risk assessments, or risk planning. And in the healthcare, definitely, and resource efficiency and the resource management and planning. And it's better not to use it on the low value, which like a redundant automation. Like we want to do some kind of redundant automation, like asking our automation system to go every 1 minute, like checking out our message and messages, flags and the emails, like asking like going 1 hour and checking our like what we have. Don't put too much automation on the things that you think it's we have to optimize our automation, not do the automation on everything, and you don't have the redundant automation. Excessive content generation. This is what is happening nowadays a lot. People are going to generate a lot of content, even though that they are not going through it, and then they are not sure about what it has been generated, and just copy paste it from one place, and not take responsibility and accountability for the content which is generating with AI. And inefficient deployment. So we have to be sure that the AI we're going to use is efficient and it is not inefficient deployment of the AI. And then for that one, we need a QA testing, and we have to be sure that we are using the AI, which is at least proof, it has a proven concept. And then from the proven concept, we're moving further. So we have to be careful about where we're using the AI, because we know the AI has the sustainability pressure, and we saw the sustainability pressure in different places. It is not just electricity. And then we have to be more cautious where we are going to use AI, and then we have to manage and governance our AI usage. So we prioritize AI application with the high social with the high social values related to environmental cost. Let's prioritize it with our environmental costs that it has, the AI application and AI usage has in our work. Now we want to have a responsible AI design. When we want to have responsible AI design, organizations should first ask, is a frontier scale model really necessary? That do we need this model to develop it? Is it necessary to have it? Alternative to that question is that, can we use a smaller model? And then can we use the model which is like using less electricity and then having less impact? Can we use a hybrid system, not just going for the AI model? Can we have a retrieval system? Can we have a classical statistical model, not just using the AI? And rule-based automation, can we do something kind of like a rule-based automation, not going to the inferences, not asking everything, like not asking everything from the AI? Maybe you can ask AI, maybe we have another solution which is using less computational energy, like rule-based automation solutions or classical statistical models, that it doesn't put a pressure on usage of the inferences. And the benefit is a lower training cost, definitely lower inference cost, and lower environmental impact, which we are looking for that one. As a sustainable, responsible project manager, we would like to have a lower environmental impact when we are using AI in our workflow. Governance and reporting, as we discussed, and then coming until here, governance of our work is become very crucial in the age of AI, and also that how we are reporting that governance, and then how we are reporting the connection between sustainability and then usage of the AI. Sustainability requirement, transparency. We discussed about transparency in a few slides back. Transparency is important in the age of sustainable AI, I call it. And so the organization should track following things: energy consumption, carbon emission, water usage, hardware life cycle impact. An important governance area is that sustainable cloud procurement, carbon. So we procure the sustainable, I would say, infrastructure. We hire the sustainable AI, try to have that one. Carbon aware workload placement, water awareness siting, and life cycle reporting from those data center. The European policy directors, like OECD framework, increasing support and mandatory report on that AI usage. This is, so in general in Europe, this is the pathway to go through, that's having more transparency reporting. they are demanding from the data center. And then as a PM, we have to address those reportings in our usage of the AI. Let's see what management framework that we suggesting with all these consideration. Sustainable AI decision framework with decision areas that we have, and then key question we have, and then recommendation action based on that decision area. And the first decision area we have is a use case selection, how we are selecting our use case. So the question is that, is the value justified? And then recommended action is that we prioritize it from high impact use cases to the low impact use cases, and then put the consumption of the AI on the high impact use cases, which we discuss about which has a higher impact and which has a higher value and lower value in the former slides. Model design, the decision area, what kind of model we're going to use. Is a large scale necessary, or is a large language model is necessary for that solution we are going to use, or we can use the smallest sufficient model. We can use the smallest AI model which has the lowest carbon footprint or lowest footprint, sustainable footprint in our environment. So when we want to choose the model, we have the key, do we need that model? Or we can do it with a smaller model. Infrastructure sourcing, we want to source our infrastructure that for our usage of the AI, where should workload run? And then we would like to see the geography of that data center. The best is that we aware where the geography of that data center, and then carbon awareness of the placement. If we're going to use that data center, how much it's affecting the geography and then that specific region. I'll give an example. If we're going to the France, then we are more sure if there is data center in France, or maybe that's northern countries of the Europe, then it has a lower carbon footprint because of the grids mixture and combination. Decision area, we have to reporting, and then there's like what kind of type of reporting we do. We should be disclosed and transparent on the reporting. We have to generate a report, put the report out, are transparent about it, track environmental metrics on our reporting. So in the reporting, we see that how much electricity we just not monitor the token, we monitor how much electricity it uses. We can use some kind of, we can use the AI to help us to have some measure, at least for it. When we know that how much token we use, then we can have we can use the AI to have a measure to report in our reporting, and we aware about it. And then decision area is governance decision area, who bear the local cost, and then see that how much we put the pressure on the community, and then see that do we include the community impact, and is that AI infrastructure put the data center in the community that by running that infrastructure put a pressure on the local community of that place. And this is also is good to be considered, and it's good to be used that AI data center. It's a more responsible decision making to using AI in our workflow. So we did it until here, but there are a lot of things that we can do, and then moving further for the future studies, which we consider also we expanding this study and then going further on this study. One of the areas that it might be interesting is that to having a standardized reporting format, and maybe it can come by PMI or PMP, a part of the PMP guideline, that we have I would say standardized reporting for that sustainable AI consumption. Inference level energy tracking. This is another study that it can be done in the future. Water footprint disclosure. These are the future studies. Hardware lifecycle assessment, rebound efficiency measure, local community impact, environmental justice dimension. These are the studies that we thinking it might be good for the other scholars and scientists to going further and then moving to each dimension and then do the study on those dimensions to more clear what is the balance between that using AI and having sustainable environment. The final conclusion for the final slide, I want to conclude that topic and discussion here. AI creates a double movement. It has a positive side and negative side. For the positive side, we can say it's increased productivity, it can help for optimization, scientific acceleration and discoveries, sustainability application. But on the other hand, electricity demand, water consumption, infrastructure pressure, and emission growth, there are like general negative side effect of the AI and then growing in the AI demand. And final argument, the future of the AI will be judged not only by what it can optimize, but also by how responsible society manage the resources required to operate it. So it's our responsibility as the project managers that to allocate a resource in a more responsible way and use the AI with a more responsible and open eye in the future. Final question, what kind of AI is worth building and what environment cost and under which governance condition we are using the AI. I'm going to finish the slides here and thank you so much for your attention until here and I'm in your hand for any further question.
Okay. Thank you, Mehrzad. It was a really interesting presentation, very well documented. So, if anyone would like to address any questions or go into further details on one of the topics that we've just heard, please either put your question in chat or open your mic and your camera and you can address the question directly.
Thank you so much, Rezwan, and thanks for the opportunity to present the work that we did it in for the sustainable to consideration that how we can have a sustainable AI and what we can consider as project managers on that consideration of using AI and then how we can look at the AI in this period of time. Okay, 𝐬𝐩𝐞𝐴, he asked a question. AI is an interesting topic, definitely. Thank you for the presentation. It covered a lot of the topics I had not considered before when we thinking of AI. Thank you so much for your compliment, 𝐬𝐩𝐞𝐴. And yeah, it was like I had a lot of. I remember the day that the seminar announcement, this semi-marathon announcement came out from the PMI and then asking for the topic for presenting and the semi-marathon seminar. And it was a sustainability. And I worked extensively in the AI and AI advancement, but I had this in the back of my mind, like it has some conflict now. The conflict is not well studied, and then at least it's not addressed. And then actually I want to thank Romanian chapter for the selection of the topic for the semi-marathon. And it was a very good selection and it helps. I developed the topic after that I got the call for the study. And then I sat and I worked on it with my colleagues and then we developed a study. After that we got the announcement of the semi-marathon webinar. And thanks to the Romanian chapter, it was a wise, sustainability is a wise topic. and then we could manage it to combine it with the AI and AI advancement. And the area is very interesting, and there are a lot of conflict inside, and we try to. This is the work of project management, is that we have to balance between the resources we have, and we have to navigate between the scarcity of the resource and also the productivity and efficiency, and then reaching to the result that we would like to have. Darko
Yeah, he has a question.
Dimitrovsky, yeah, he asked
Dimitrovsky, yeah.
another. Thank you, Dimitrovsky. He asked another question. Mehrzad, thank you for the great presentation. Thanks for compliment. During your research, did you come across the trend of where are data center concentrated, yeah, geographically wise? I don't have the answer in my hand, but yes, there are a few places in the state, especially, which is like mostly in the central United States. They have a cheap water and cheap electricity, and they are concentrated there. I don't have the name of the place uh, on my head. Even there are reports about the communities that they are demonstrating against that much of the development of a data center there. And Middle East is another places that they have a lot of initiation and initiatives. Europe has some initiatives, which is very wise. I think we need a more Europe data center because we operate them more responsible here in Europe, and we are more responsible with our energy, we are more responsible with our water, and I think Europe has started the initiation, and I think we need more than that one. And I think if there is an intensive to using, not intensive, there is a tax for using outside of the Europe data center, the European organization and company, even end user, will shift to the European data center. And geographically, it put a pressure on a state. Canada started to get some of the stake of this boom, and Middle East is another place. In China, they did it, I would say, the more sustainable. Actually, they split it across the China, and India also is split it across the India, but India is a different game in general because they have a different, I would say, narrative in the sustainability. Uh, I don't have the exact number and then answer. This is one of the other area for the future development. Somebody is just working on the location of the data center and then how it put the pressure on the community. Our study was the general overview. We just to identify the general overview, identify the places, and then we definitely on the further study, we're going to narrow it down to the each places, like narrow it down just to electricity, narrow it down just to the water, narrow it down just to the data center. And these are the future study, and I hope maybe we do it here in Hungary with our team, or maybe the other researcher will take a baton and then continue the study. During research, did you encounter negative reaction? Christina Shuto, if I'm not mistaken, her name.
Yeah.
Shuta. During your research, did you encounter negative reaction of civil societies in the community where the data center are built? Yeah, as I said, that's one example that I know that there was a demonstration in a state. And I don't have the smart answer because I don't have the exact figure with myself to answer that question directly. But this is one of the evidence. But except that one, because it's affecting their energy bills, and everybody has to pay higher energy cost on that community. Except that one, I don't have any another example in my mind. And this is a study, we can go deeper on that study. Another question from Balázs Somoy, definitely from Hungary. And hi, Balázs. Uh, Thank you for your thoughtful, provoking presentation. I think we have to face at least two problems. People are trying out LLM's platform. Many of them use many of them, I myself too, play with, yes, and test it definitely. it consumes a lot of energy. Yeah, because of that, exactly. We do like just playing with it. In one hand, I give it to, I would say, the end user. There is one thing happen. Uh, let me, then I will go for your second point. Let me tell you something. When the cloud is coming out, and then there was announcement from the Anthropic, and they said that they have a new application, and then you can use it, and people are rushed to use that one. There was an announcement of that, and the people use it, and I saw the day after there was a guy giving tutorial about the cloud, and said how I use the cloud to solve this problem. Like for example, and then I thought myself, okay, this guy is just no cloud yesterday, like me. We get the same announcement, and then he played with it and then solving one problem. So he just know one day more than like me as a person about the cloud. And for all of us, these new tools is that not just for us, even for the developer, because they don't know what is the end capacity of these models. And it is a playground. Definitely, we do plays with it and working with it and try to get as much as we can do as a, I would say, playground. And uh, this is one thing I think we can give this right to everybody to work with it and try it as much as they can do. Uh, but not put it like one of the things I mentioned it, don't do the automation at the start. Like if you're not sure about it, don't put it for 24/7 automation. If you want to automate something, automate it for a few hours to be sure it works well. Then after that, go for the high automation, which is consuming a lot of tokens and definitely consuming a lot of energy behind that one. Um, Playing around it is good, but then jumping to the fast automation, I think this is something we have to consider and be more cautious about it. The second part of the question from Balaj, people looking for the best solution, the best option, model try to be the best in their fields. Yes, sustainability is not in their selecting criteria. I agree. Do you or someone work on the mandatory policies, Ece, after every answer LLM should disclose CO2 emission? And yes, from Hungary. Hi, everyone. Yeah, thanks. Uh, in the Europe, the policymakers, you know it, there's the AI Act, and on the AI Act, there is a responsible algorithm, responsible and ethical algorithm is part of the AI Act. We try to apply for one of the European funds, and one of the consideration we have for that one is that the AI ethics and how we can have an AI algorithm with align with the ethics. And European Union has a good concern, and they didn't put it aside, not just looking at the efficiency and not just looking at the like a performance and efficiency. It is it is good in general because it's more sustainable development, and we don't put like the European Union doesn't want the problem occur and then solving the problem. Have a precautious action and preventing the problem to be happen. Um, Yes, and then the emission of the CO2 emission of LLMs, it has been studied. I saw reports on that one. I don't have it myself here, but there are studies about that LLM CO2 emission. And it's also there is a studies about that the grid mixture about that how the grid mixture in the different countries, and then that grid mixture how it's affecting the CO2 emission of the LLM training and also LLM inference. And after the training, there's the inference. They use it as the inference. And there are reports on these two items. I don't have it in my hand to present it here, but there are reference and it's developing further and further. This is the concern for mostly it's in Europe that we are in Europe is pushing this matter very well. And in a state, it seems it's it has been forgotten in the last 1.5 years, I would say. But I hope the state also getting back to the track that's to developing, developing the whole industry with a more sustainable perspective. Rezvan put the PDU's number. And
This is
Rezvan,
the
would you
PDU
like to
code.
talk about the PDUs? Yeah. Rezvan, if you would like to talk about that code of the PDUs.
Yeah, it's fine. I just leave it in the chat so everyone has it at their hand and they can use it to claim their PDUs. The category will be filled and it's no problem on that. We can go with the further question from Călin Grigore. Do we think a US supplier with EU regulation would build sustainable data center solution? For example, Amazon advertises jobs for the sovereign cloud in Europe based on AWS.
Actually, this is the question you have to ask of politics. As I'm not politics, I'm researcher, and I'm one of the things I want to say is that I'm happy about the Europe direction on the sustainability and responsibility in general. Europe doesn't wants to the company be accountable and responsible for their development, and I'm happy about that one. I'm supporting that, and like these are the political questions, and definitely politicians can answer this question better than me. And I think Europe has to bring the data centers, is my opinion, bring the data centers inside the Europe, even if it costs a bit more, which it will be cost at the end lower because we bring also the profitability of the database to the Europe. We don't give the monies to like out of the Europe, I would say giants. And I think we have to bring as much as the data centers and then AI usage inside the Europe. And this act is also a good act from the Europe, and hopefully Europe it is putting like Europe putting more pressure, and I think we are in a good track. We have to put these pressures and bring the big companies here.
Then you have the link for the feedback form. If you have time to take 1 more minute at the end of the meeting to fill out this form, would be really appreciated. And we have a question from Dragoș Mălureanu. Unless I misunderstood your statement, one responsibility aspect was awareness on the data center location and its sustainable use of resources. And the question is it really expected that an individual user knows where or by what data center his and her query is processed?
No, it is not by individual users. As we're talking about the project managers, and now we're talking about like in the organization sides, project managers, directors, companies, governance team, like a board, and especially for their like, for example, there's a company. For example, we have application. The application wants to use the AI as a token for the token of the AI, and the project manager, the company, and the company director is like a better have a consideration of the data, where the data center is, and then how they are using the data center. I didn't talk about like I didn't target the individual peoples. Like my target was the project managers and the governance system in the companies. Okay, and I think there is the last one, Darko Dimitrovic.
He mentioned that he has to drop the meeting. It's no question.
Okay, no, that's okay. Thank you so much for Romanian. Yeah, thank you so much for Romanian chapters. I'm also wants to thank them. And yeah, I don't know if you can find me in LinkedIn, and then if anybody has any question in the LinkedIn, I think we can follow. You can follow me in the LinkedIn. I put a post time to time regarding the study that I'm doing in this area. And if you have any question, just write down on the LinkedIn message. I'm available there, and I try to answer any type of technical question which is related to the topic, or even like not this topic, to the other topics. And I try to be responsive on the LinkedIn. Thank you. It seems we don't have any more question. Razvani, we are in your hands.
If it is okay with you, I will share the link for your LinkedIn profile in chat.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. And this way everyone can connect with you. So,
Thank you so much. Yeah, the LinkedIn profile is here. And here you can, and then if you have any topic for maybe like we can, I think we have a discussion session maybe in the future. If the Romanian chapter can have a discussion session, we will bring maybe in the next, I would say, webinar, I can bring another topic and then we can put it on discussion and we can move further with the new topics.
Yes, before you go, I would like to share with you that tomorrow we'll have a speaker from PMI Bulgaria. The speaker is Antoaneta Stoyanova, and she will discuss about the topic of sustainability in aviation, future-ready aviation, sustainable terminal development. It's a change from the topic that we discussed tonight and what we had last night. But I think it will be really interesting if you can join. It will be really appreciated.
Thanks. I try from my side to join, and I hope everybody else can join to the tomorrow's session.
Yeah. The link for joining is the same like this one. It's valid for all nights, and we start at the same time, 6 p.m. CET or 7 p.m. EET. So it's no problem from this point of view. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the presentation, Mehrzad.
Thanks for giving me this chance for presenting the work that we did.
Okay. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thanks. Great evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.